Fine. Okay, so welcome back everyone. I think now only the live is get started. Okay, so we move on to the live. Okay, fine. So yeah, sure. Like I know that we have discussed about the previous class. What are the topic we have discussed about? Like we have discussed about the very fundamentals. Like we have okay, sir. Okay, fine. So like we move on to it. We discuss about all the basic properties and all. We just cleared it out. And right now what we're going to see, about the condition statement, loopings and all those things. We're just going to discuss about, and some of the if possible we're going to cover the some of the ES6 concept also, and also we're going to focus upon the down operation. Okay, so if my voice is audible and everything is clear, just give a comment like everything is clear. We just get started our section. Okay, so yeah, we just get started for our section. Okay, just give a comment if you are in. Okay, fine. Okay, sure. So I think you all know about that, you remember that, and the every formalities and the details that's going to be same. Like yeah, sorry, also okay, fine. So like everything, whatever the we discussed about the previous 2 day, except that Wednesdays have a premiere here. So same rules and regulation. Like we have a link that if you fill the link, you will get an attendance, and if you want to get that certification, you can fill that link. Okay, fine. And make sure that you are giving like and subscribe if you really feel that the session is very useful for you. Okay, then okay, so what is the first topic today we're going to see? We're just going to see about the loops. Okay, so this is the topic that we're going to see. So today it's all about loops, and we're going to see about conditional statements. Okay, so that is the main topic, and if you have time we move on to further like down. We just go for the some of the ES6 concept and then we come back. Okay, let's get started with loops. So what is meant by loops? I think if you're familiar with some of the JavaScript concepts, you will know about that. So the loop is nothing but we need to run a particular task for again and again, like we can use it. Like I think if you watch the Tenet movie, so they speak about the loop, right? So infinity time, the same repeated process is running for infinity time, so that is going to be loop. Okay, so how can we build that? For example, let me create an a condition here. I just want to run my name in the console for 10 times. Okay, so this is my condition. So I need to return my name Hari in console for 10 times. So this is the condition. Okay, so let's see how we can figure it out. Okay, so first thing in JavaScript, we have the traditional loop that is called as for loop. Okay, so what is the syntax of for loop means? You need to declare a keyword for, and you need to give a parenthesis, and inside the parenthesis it accepts 3 parameter we need to give. Like one is going to be the initiation, so we need to give, like here I just mentioned it, initiation, and next one is going to be the condition, and if the condition is get true, then what happened, the code will execute. So inside this we will write code will execute. Okay, so after execution, after the code gets executed, here we can say whether we need to increment the value or decrement the value. Okay, so this is going to be the traditional loop. Okay, so just imagine, first we give the initiation and then it check for the condition. If the condition is true, the code will get executed. The condition is false, the code will not executed. So after the code get executed, remember the word, after the code get executed, then only it goes for increment and decrement operator. Okay, let me discuss. Like I need to run my name for 10 times. How can I do that? So here I just initiate a value like a variable, let I equal to 0. So what I'm saying, like I just created a variable that is I, and that is going to be 0. Okay, and one more thing is important, it is not comma, we need to give the semicolon. Okay, so that is very important. Next, for condition, what condition I need, like I is going to be 0, I'm going to use this variable. I value is the value of I is less than 10. The value of I is less than 10, then the code want to execute. Okay, so what is the code we need to execute? We need to execute console.log, this one. Okay, after executing the code, I need to increase the value. So initially, what is the value of I? It is going to be 0. So after the code getting executed, I need to increase the value of I plus. I need to increase the value by 1 times. So for example, right now the value of I is 0. Okay, so right now the value of I is 0. So it go for the condition 0 is less than 10. Yes, it is less than 10. So I write, that is the condition I give. So it is going to be true. So if it is going to be true means the code, whatever the code we are giving inside, it is going to be executed. And what happened after executing it, it will increase the I value plus 1 time. So right now 0, if I add plus 1, then its I value is going to be 1. So likewise it is go and repeat again and again. So when it reaches the value 9, it's check for the condition, it is going to be true, and again it's go for increment, so it gives the value 10. So now it comes here, 10 is less than 10, no. So then what happened, the code will becomes false, so it stop its execution, the loop will came out. Right now you can see 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, right? So I just satisfied my condition, right? So I need to display my name for 10 time in the console. So I just created the logic for the loops. Understand, right? So this is all about looping. So this is about traditional looping. Okay, so only you need to understand here the flow of how the loop works. So first we need to give this first parameter initiation, and then where to start, that is called initiation. And here it is going to be condition. If it is true, the code get executed. After that it will go for the increment and decrement operator. Okay, so this is for loop, but this is very problematic. Like you can see, we need to focus on every minute thing. Okay, so if you don't give any increment and decrement here, what would happen, the code will runs infinity times, right? So if I remove this, if I remove it and executed it, then what happened, there is no plus plus operator. So only I is going to be 0 and I is less than 10. So what happened, the code will run again and again and again, and then your browser will be crashed. So make sure when you are creating a loop that you need to give the ending, the condition should be very understandable. So then only what we can do, like, okay, so we need to give a end condition. So at some point of time the code has to end. So that is very important when we are working with loop. Otherwise what happen, it will execute, keep on execute, and the entire browser get crashed. Then you need to restart again. Okay, so your browser will get hanged and it will get crashed, so you need to restart again. So that problem will happen. Okay, so even though it is understandable, but it is very compared to when we work with some other codes, like it has many syntax, it may cause us many syntax error. Like sometimes we forgot to put the semicolon, we just give the comma within a flow, and sometimes we forgot to give the increment or decrement operator. And this is very very strictly typing, right? So we need to say the initiation, and we need to give the condition, and we need to say where to stop, and we need to write everything. Will be, we are focusing like spoon feeding, like everything we are dictating, right? So there comes the next loop, they is going to perform the same thing, but a little bit syntactic sugar. Okay, you can see here, this is a traditional loop, and while loop also is another loop, but it is very easy to understand. Like for example, I need to run the same concept in while loop. How can I do that? For example, here I just say let I is equal to 0, I equal to 0, simply like that. So I initiated, and here I say while, this is the code. So while means it check for the condition here. If it is true means the code will get executed. So here I just say I is less than 10. Then you need to run the code console.log the web dev. Okay, and here itself you need to tell the I plus plus, the increment value. So I just say I plus plus here. Okay, so now what going to happen, like here it is a little bit confusing, right? It will run this, and it is not go for the third parameter, it run here and then it go for third parameter. So this is the flow, right? But here you can see it is like neatly aligned, like I declaring a variable and I'm checking for a condition and it gets executed, and afterwards that is it is get run. So it is easily understandable. So if I run that, it is also going to produce the same result for 10 times. Okay, so this is while loop. So here comes another loop that is called as do while. So do while is different from both while and for loop. So what the for loop will do, same the while loop is also doing. The only difference is they have the execution something like this and this, and they have in a structured way. That's it. But do while is different. Let's see. I'm going to do the same thing. You can see the difference. For example, here I just going to create let I equal to 0, and here I just say do, and here we can give while, and here is the condition. So what is the difference between while loop and do while loop? Means do while loop check for, like while loop check for the condition and execute the code, but do while loop execute the code and then check for the condition. For example, here you can see this is initiation. So before checking the condition, what would happen? Mean the code get executed. Console.log. Here I say like twd, like this. Okay, and here after that I just say I plus plus, and here I just give I less than 10. Okay, so here it is same only. You can see if I run it, it will run that, it will running the code same only. But you can see that if I make the code to false, for example, instead of 0, I will give 110. So what is this? This is 110. So if it is check for the condition, what would happen? It is going to be false. The condition is going to be false. If we run the code, you can see the code is executed and then it check for the condition. So what happens in do while loop? Do while loop runs at least one time, because you can see it execute the code first and then only it check the condition. So what happened, when you initiate a code, it will just execute the code, and after that it will increment that, and then it go for while loop and it will check whether the condition is true or not. So if it is true, it go for the next condition. If it is false, it will not. So do while loop runs, even though if it is false, it is runs at least only once. Okay, so that is what do while loop do. But while loop is different. So if I run the same code in while loop, for example, here I run, here I check for I is less than 10. Here we can go for the console, and here I just say like console log like twd. So the same code I'm checking for the condition. So this is also going to be false, and I just say I plus plus. Okay, if I clear it and I run it, you can see nothing has happened. The reason is because while loop check the condition first and then it will execute the code. Do while loop execute the code and then check the condition. So this is the two difference between while loop and do while loop. Okay, so I think hope you understand that what I'm trying to say, right? Okay, so now what we're going to do, let's check comment. Yeah, so now what I'm going to do, by using this loop, how to iterate an array. So that is what we're going to see, like how to use the loops in an array. So that is what we're going to see now. For example, let us consider I have an array. So this is the real use case where we are use the loop and all. Okay, so I just say const I have an array in the name of lang, and here it is going to be an array, and inside an array I just creating an object. Okay, so this is the first index, this is the second index, and this is the third index. Right now I have around three object is there, right? So right now I have around 3 object is there. It is more than enough. So here I just create like this. Okay, so inside that I just create the property id 1, and I give a comma, and next I just go for name, and here I just give JavaScript. Okay, like this. What I going to do, I just going to copy everything, paste it. Okay, so here we change the id to 2. We go for CSS, go for HTML. Okay, so we have an array, and that array have id in the name of JavaScript, and it has an id2, it is in the name of HTML, id3 in the name of JavaScript. So how, by using loops, how we can iterate it? So I just going to use the for loop. So here I just say for, and here I just say let I equal to 0. Okay, so we just initiated. Now what I want, I need to run the loop how many items in an array. So I need to run a loop according to the how many items are in the array. So how can we check how many items in the array? We already have a default property dot length, right? So array dot length, it just count that, right? So if I say lang dot length, it is going to return me the length of an array. For example, I just say console dot log lang dot length. I just save, sorry, comment this, run it, lang. Here you can see it returns me 3 because inside an array we have 3 objects. So that is why it's written 3. If I add one more thing, what is going to be? It is going to be returns me true. For example, if I remove the object last one, it is going to return me true. Okay, so this is the way that we can access the length of an array. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I have I is equal to 0, and here I say I is less than, I value is less than lang dot length. So how long you need to run this condition? The value of I is less than lang dot length. So what is lang dot length? So right now it is 3. So what is the value of I? It is going to be 0. So if it is less than, the condition is going to be true. So now I want to say what code I need to execute. So here I just simply say console.log. Okay, here I just simply say lang. Here instead of giving the index, I just going to give the I, and I just put a dot and I just say name. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I just going to iterate it, and I want to increase the value of I by 1 times. So I plus plus, like this. Okay, so let's run it and I will explain how it is working. You can see all the names has been fetched. Okay, so even though if you want to do some of the actions also, you can do. The most used language is like this. Clear it, run it. There you can see the most used language is JavaScript, the most used language is HTML, and most used language is CSS. So in single line of code, even though you have 1000 line of array, like the array containing 1000 line of data, nothing matter. You can able to loop through it and you can iterate it. Let I explain how it is work. So same like we have initiated a variable, and I'm using that variable, and I'm checking the condition with the length of an array. The reason is I need to run an array how much length it is. For example, if somehow a new data is added that has an ID number 4, and it has the name, and here it is going to be Node.js. Okay, so like this. So if I clear it, now I run it, you can see it automatically fetches the Node.js. So if I use lang.length, it automatically take the length of the variable. So I give 3. If instead of lang.length, if I give 4 or if I give 3 or anything like that, if a new variable or the data gets updated, it is not automatically fetched. So I need to recreate it, right? So that is why if I say lang, if I just call the language.length, then it is automatically fetched. How many times the value increase doesn't matter, it automatically increase. So here I say, here is the very important thing, like lang. If I say lang 0, then what it is going to return? It is going to return this first array. If I say lang is equal to 1, then it is going to return the second array. So like that. So here what is starts from 0, we are introduced an variable I. So I just get replaced the default value with the I. So now what happened, every time the I value get increased, the index also get increased. So initially the I value is 0, so it is focused on the first index. When it is get increased, the value of I is get increased, you can see this value is also get increased, because now the I value is 1, so it is go for next, and it fetch for the next one. Like that it automatically increase it, and when the I value reaches the 4, now you can see right now we have only 3 index, because the indexes start from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So when it is reaches the value, sorry, 1, 2, 3 only, when it is reaches the value 4, so 4 is not less than 4, so it will automatically make the condition false, the loop will came out from the loop. Okay, so the loop will not work, so the loop will get break. Okay, so this is how this for loop will be work. Okay, so like for loop work with the array. Okay, so any doubts you can ask here. Okay, no. Okay, so now we move on to the next one. Like we right now have an advanced looping concept, that is for of loop. So instead of using this everything, like I need to say where to start, I need to say where to end, and I need to say the condition and all. So here we have an advanced looping for array. Remember the word for array. So that is for of loop. So the syntax for that is for, and here we need to declare let, I just say let, and here we need to say a name for which item that I'm going to fetch, and I just want to say off. So off is a keyword here, and I need to say I need to say the array. So which array I need to fetch from the lang array. So like that. So now what happens means this for off loop, what it will do means it will go and run the code what I'm going to run inside the curly braces in each and every items in an array. For example, right now we take the entire array and we stored it in something x. We can say like x. Okay, so I stored it in a variable x. So what this line of code indicates, so take the array. Okay, every time you looping through it, okay, so that item is stored, that item want to store inside the x. So that's it. So here if I say console.log x dot x dot name. So now what happens means I don't want to tell where to start, I don't want to tell where to stop, nothing. So it will take care of it. I just say you need to use the for of, and you need to loop through this array, and the which item you are getting from the array, that is going to be stored in x. So first it's go for the first one, it is going to be return the name of the first one, and it's go for second one. Like that it will keep on go execute, and it will run the code. You can see JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and Node.js. If I clear and I run it, here you can see it will automatically execute. So I don't want to say where to start, and I don't want to give the condition, I don't want to give the where to stop. Okay, so no problem. So here if I use the for of loop, I need to declare a variable, and I need to tell which array I need to iterate. So here lang is the array that I want to iterate. So every value inside an array, so it will get stored inside x every time the code is get executed, and each time the code take this code and it will run on the each item in the array. Okay, so this is how the for of loop work. Okay, so this is for array only. Okay, so just you need to remember that. Okay, so mostly this is all about the looping concept. Okay, so the next what we're going to see is about the conditional statements that we look into that. Okay, I think you may hear about you know about this, and there are some other loops are available. For example, if you want to work with object, we have for in loop is there, and we have for each loop is there, and some of the advanced ES6 concept come up with some of the higher order functions, like we have map, reduce, filter, and those kinds of loop has been available. We can use that. Okay, so that our topic we're going to discuss in the advanced concept that we will discuss it. Okay, so the next topic is all about conditional statement. So this is what is mean by condition statements means it is like controlling the flow of a statement. Like for example, I am flipping a coin. So if it is head, I need to choose bat. If it is tail, I need to choose ball, like that. So based on the condition, maybe it head, I need to go for bat. Maybe it's tail, I need to go for ball. So based on the condition, we want to execute a code. So that is what the conditional statement is all about. So first we see about there are so much things there. First we need to see about the if. So what is this if will do means the syntax of if is if you need to give a parenthesis and you need to open this curly braces, and here you need to give the condition. Okay, whatever the condition we are given inside the if statement, if it is true, whatever the code we return inside the curly braces, it will be executed. If it is false, then it won't execute it. For example, I directly give true. Okay, directly I'm giving the boolean value true, and here I say console.log bad first, like that. If I run it, you can see bad first is executed. If I make the statement to false and I clear, run it, you can see the code is not executing. The reason, if it is true, then only the code will be executed. Okay, so then if it is false, I need to execute. But for example, I need to execute bool first. Then how can I execute that? So there is something called as else. By with the ladder at the end of ifs, you can use the else statement and you can open a curly braces. So what is this means? What is the combination of if else means? Like if it is true, then the if code will run. Whether it is false, then the else code will run. For example, I just going to copy this, paste it here. Instead of bat, I just say bowl. So here it is false. So based on our explanation, so else code want to run. So we need to bowl first. So if I run it, you can see we get the bowl first. So if I make the into true, if I run it again, then you can see the bad first. Okay, so here we are giving directly the boolean value. Instead of that, I just going to give a condition. For example, let, instead of let, I just say toss equal to head. If toss equal to head, then if that statement is true, then you need to run this code. If that statement is false, you need to run false. So here I just going to create a variable in the name of toss. Okay, toss, and here I just say it is going to be head. Okay, instead of here I just say equal to, so we need to compare. So I just going to give that triple equal to. You can use double equal to also, no problem. Okay, here it is not problem, but I advise to use the triple equal to make the strict validation. Okay, so if it is true, I just have a variable. The variable has a value head. So if it is true, I just asking the value, the variable has a value of head, then you need to bat. Then the variable has the value of false, then you need to bowl first. Clear it, run it, you can see we have the bat first. So if I change something, like for example, I just change to Dhoni. Sorry, Dhoni. So here it check for a condition. Now Dhoni is not equal to head, right? So actually he is. I just run it here. You can see we're going to save the bowl first. Okay, so that is why it check the string, whether it is true, it will return it. Whether it is false, it will not return. Okay, so here I just say hit, it will return it. So now what happened? I have multiple condition. For example, if it is head, I need to tell console.log bat first. If it is tail, then I need to tell bowl first. Okay, so that is the second condition. So if it is if it is not head and tail, then I need to tell that. Okay, so we can say like uh, toss again. Okay, so that is the condition. So how can I do that? So you can use something called as else if. You can use something called as else if before the if else statement. Okay, before you writing the if else statement, you can use it. So what it will do, it will check for the multiple condition. Okay, so what the if else if do means, like first it check for the if statement. If it is true, the code will execute it and all the upcoming codes are not considered, they will leave it. But here in else if, but if the code is become false, then what happened, the else code will run. So if I have the else if code, before the code execute the else code, it go and check with the condition, second condition. Okay, so it's like a ladder. You check for the first condition whether it is true or not. If it is becomes true, then it will leave the other things. If it is become false, it will go for the next condition and check for it. For example, here I just say toes equal to tail. Okay, so this is the second condition. So if it is head, you need to run the console.log. If it is tail, then you need to run the console.log bowl first. bold first. So if it is going to be, so we are getting something else. So the value is not head, the value is not tail. So we are getting something else. So first, then the else code will be run. So here I just say something like this. Okay, so weird. Okay, no problem. So this is the laddering the code. Okay, so here I just simply say if it is head, it will just check for the head and it will return the code and all the other code will not execute. For example, right now I'm giving head, you can see bad first. So all the other code is not get executed. If I make the code to tail, now what happened? Now what happened? It will check for here. It is now not true. So it is going to be false. So then it go and fall back to the ladder. So what is the second condition? So here we have a second condition. Now we check for this whether it is true or not. So it is going to be true. Then the code will execute. For example, if I clear and I run it, here you get the bold first, right? So the code get executed. So either like for example, I don't get anything like something like this. Okay. So now if I run it, what happened? It will check for here false. It will check for here. This is also false. So only we have else statement. So the else statement will run. So else statement is run when every condition is becomes false. Okay. So when every else conditions become false. Okay. So if I run it, you can see toss again like that. So this is a simple task we have created, and you can give multiple if else statement. Like if I want to create another if else statement, you can simply create another if else like this. Okay, else, and you can give the condition what is going to be. Okay, so and then you can check for it if it is true, and then this code will execute it. So likewise, it check for first if, and then it go for next statement, and then it go for next statement. If every if else statement becomes false, then what happened? The code will get executed. Okay, hi Ravi, good morning, like good evening, sorry. Okay, so this is what actually happened in the conditional statement. Okay, now we go for some other conditional statement. For example, we have if else, right? So it is little bit messy, right? When we work with multiple condition, it is look messy, right? So we have something called a switch statement to work with the multiple condition. So we can use the switch statement. For example, we can use the switch, and here we can use what are the condition we need to want, and here you can use the case, the keyword you need to, and what case it should be, and here you can say code you need to write. So here you can say code to execute, and here you need to give something called as break. Okay, and here you need to give the default, the same like if else, but it will be neat and clean. Okay, so that is the thing. So what happened? For example, here I just say let house is head. And here I just say toss, and I just check with this variable. If the case, if the value is going to be head, then you need to execute this code. Here I just say console.log that first. If the value is going to be false, then the default value. So the default is like the value that the else statement we given the else, right? So it is like that. So if I say console.log, and here I say bold like this, and I clear, run the code. You can see bad first is executed, and if I make something weird, like instead of head I just say hit, and if I run it, you can see the default will be executed. So here what is the plus point is you can pause multiple thing within a very neat code. Like you can check for the multiple case, like you just want to recreate, and instead of case you can say tail, and if it is going to be Dhoni, just for sake, okay, so don't just offend, okay. If it is going to be Kohli, like this. So if it is going to be tail and you need to bowl first, okay, so like it is going to be the captain. I just writing weird, okay, don't consider this captain. And here it is, we can give aggressive first, captainship, right? So aggressive first, and here is with someone else, I just say toss again, okay, like that. Okay, so this is very simple, right? So it also looks clean. I need to take this and I need to check here. So if it is true, I will run the code, no other code will run. Okay, so that break is helpful. I will explain that after that what is the break will do here. I just say here, you can see toss again, because I just say heed, so no case is paused, right? So if I say hit and I just run it, you can see bat first. If I say tail, run it, toss again. The reason is here it is capital, it is case sensitive, that is very important. Okay, here it, I just run it. Here you can see bowl first, and here we have Dhoni. If I check for it, the same like that, every how the if else statement works, the same like it is also work. Like it check for the case, and if it is true it will execute it. If it is false it will go for the next case checking, and if it is false it is go for next case checking. If it is false again it will go for, if everything is false then the default code will be run. Okay, so what is the break statement? For example, if I remove the break statement in the first line of code and I just made this to head, okay, so if I run it, I just remove everything, okay, right now, just for understanding. I don't use the break statement in here, and I clear and I run it. You can see everything is get executed. The reason for this is the switch case is not loop out when the code is true. For example, this case is becomes true, right? So if it is becomes true, it will execute all the upcoming thing. For example, right now the head is true, so it will execute all the code that comes after it. Okay, so it doesn't have any control. So if I say it is true, then what happen? It will execute all the code after it coming it. For example, if I make the code to take, so now what happened? It checks for the first code, it is false. So it not run. Okay, so the code will not execute. So now it go for tail. So it will execute, it is becomes true. So when it becomes true, what happened? The switch statement run the everything, even the default also. Okay, so now you can see the bat first will not here, but all the other four things will be here. If I clear and I run it, you can see bowl first, captainship, aggressive, because this is false. So this code will not execute, but when it becomes true it will execute all the upcoming code. Okay, so that is not what we want. Okay, so to stop the code, we want to stop the code, so that is why we are using break. So what this will do means, once the code is get executed, once the code is get executed, it will loop out the code. So it will just break the loop and it will came out. Okay, so that is what the break will forcefully breaking. So here you can see we will get only bound, because this is becomes true. So the code is get executed, and the next line what we have break. So I just say break the loop. That's it. I just want that this condition want to check. If it is true, break that loop and came out. So this is the reason we are using the break keyword. Okay. Good evening, my sing everyone. So this is all about conditional statement. Any other doubts if you have here, me can ask. Okay. Now we're going to see about and or operator. So that is very important. Okay, we're just going to see about and or operator by using if class. For example, I just remove this switch statement. I think you will understand that. We're just going to see about and operator and or operator. This is very important. The reason is sometimes we need to check for more condition. For example, we see about if class, right? If I say if and the code has to execute and else the code has to execute. So whatever we give, like I say, like I say let toss equal to head, and I say toss is triple equal to head, then the code is executed. Okay, so this is what we see. So we need to check for multiple conditions. So for example, I need to check whether the toss is head, and also I need to check whether it is like I need to check some other condition also. I need to check the toss is triple is not equal to like empty string. It's not equal to empty string. So I want to confirm this also. I need to confirm two condition. I need to check whether it is head, and also I need to confirm it is not an empty string. I need to confirm that. So how can I do that? So in that cases, like you need to compare two condition. We have something called as, for example, I just remove it. I just remove this one. Okay, I just say it's not equal to, I just say equal to. Okay, so what I'm going to say, I just want to check whether it is not equal to empty string or not. Okay, so I just run it. Just a minute. Okay, I will run like this. Clear, run it. Okay, another error. Fine, console. I just clear, I run it. Here you can see it becomes true, it will returns because it is not equal to empty string. So here if I check for it is equal to empty string, no, it is not like that. So what happened, it has some value, so it returns false. What this equal to not equal to do, it will make the code to true. Okay, so that is what happening. So we need to check multiple conditions. Then how can I do that? How can I do that means you can use the AND operator and OR operator to check that. Okay, here I will explain it. Okay, so just a minute. Okay, so here we will, instead of go for this, we will go for a different, like const x is equal to 20, and I have another variable const y equal to 30. Okay, so I need to check two things, and then I need to run the code. Not only two, more things. Okay, more than a single. I just say fx is equal to 20, and also I need to confirm y value is equal to 30. If both the value becomes true, then I need to execute the code. I just say console.log x comma y. Here I can say else console.log like false, like this. So if I want to check both the value, if both the value I'm giving here it is true, I need to execute the code. Otherwise, I need to console log false. So for that, what we can use the AND operator and OR operator. So what is the difference between AND operator and OR operator means? Like we have comparison here, and we have, so we have two comparison. If both the value is true, then the AND returns true. Okay, so other than that, a value is one value is true and another value is false, then the AND return false. Only when the AND returns true means it only returns true when both the value is true. Okay, both the value returns true, then only the AND returns true. But or is, if any one value is true, then it makes the value as false, which means it make only false when both the value is false. Okay, like AND is like checking both the value is true, it returns true. OR is like if any one value among the condition, any one becomes true, it will execute it. For example, I need to check two conditions. So I just say and sorry like okay, so this is the ampersand sign that we use to use it for AND operator. So what this AND operator will do, it will check for this condition for true or false. Now it is true, now this is also true. Now if I run the code, you can see we will get 20 and 30, which means the if is run. So what is the return? The return is true, because this is also true, this is also true. If both is true means the AND returns true. If I make this to 200, now what happened? The value of x is false and the value of y is true. So now one is true, one is false, but based on AND we need both the things should be true. So now the AND is going to return the false. So what happened? This code will not executed. The code is false, though the else code will be executed. If I make both the things to false, then also the same thing will happen. It is going to be false, so it is going to execute false. So when we working with an AND, we need to make sure that all the operators, if you want everything should be true, then you can use AND. Or else if you want to use OR, like for using OR, you need to use this pipe sign. Okay, so what it will do, it will check for any one condition is true or not, whether this should true or that should true. So here this is also false, this is also false, so it is going to be false only. Okay, so if I run this code, you can get the false value. So if I make this y value to true, like I just make them to equal to 30, so now this is false but this is true. So if I clear it and I run it, here you can see now it is get executed. So this is the difference between AND operator and OR operator. Yeah, so the attendance has been provided in the chat box, like those people who have filled the 2 days attendance. If you are in continuous, if you are in consistency, you can fill the third attendance form also. Then tomorrow we will provide the last attendance form. Okay, so this is all about AND operator and OR operator. Okay, so you can see like this code is very simple, right? This code has very simple one, but we are writing so much of code, right? So there is comes in another thing called ternary operator. So the ternary operator makes much more easier, makes the code much more easier. Like for example, like how can I say, like for example, I need to check a condition. I just say const, just declare a variable. I remove this one. I just say const num equal to, I just create a variable, and here I just say x is equal to 20. If x is equal to 20, or we can say less than equal to, either it can be lesser than 20 or equal to 20, then it is going to return what? It is going to return true, right? So I just say console.log num. You can see it is returning true. So the value of num is true. So then it is going to be true. What we can do means we can use the question mark, like the sign we use for question mark. So this is called as ternary operator. So if it is true, then I need to run a code. Like I want to run a, I just want to what I want to save means I need to inside the variable I need to save something. Like here I just say value value is 20, and you need to give the semicolon, like colon, and here you can use the next one, value is not less than 20. Okay, so here I write that. So if the value, if it is true, then this one executed. Okay, so if it is false, then what happened? The whatever the thing we are returning after the colon, that is get executed. Okay, you can see here, I clear, I run it. Here you can see value is 20. So if I make the value of x is equal to 200, now I check for it, it is going to be false. So this is not get executed. Instead of this will be executed, because it is going to return false. So here you can see value is not less than 20. So this is, if it is true, you are using the question mark, you need to give the value for true. If it is true, what the code has to execute, here you can give, and you need to use the colon, and here you can see what is the value for false. Okay, so this is all about, yeah, sure. Okay, So we are using if else, right? We are using if else. So that is a long way, like we are using most of the time, right? So here comes another like one line future, like we can use it. Okay, so it is more readable. Okay, so that is the thing. For example, what is the syntax means? You just want to you have a condition. Okay, if the condition is true, this code will be executed. The condition is false, this code will be executed. Okay, so you want to store it in a variable, you can store. For example, I just say const num. Okay, num equal to, so whatever the value it's going to get, I just going to, so I have a condition, I check for the condition. If the condition is true, I will execute here the whatever I'm putting here, it will be executed. If the condition is false, whatever the condition is false, then whatever the thing we are giving after the colon, it will be executed. For example, I say x is less than 20. Okay, so if it is true, if the condition is true, then here is a value of x is true. Okay, so if it is not there, we can say value of x is false, something like that. Little bit weird. We can say less than, instead of true we can say less than 20. Okay, so here we can say not less than 20. Okay, so now I just log this console.log to check the value of num. I clear and I run it. So though the value is 200, so it is not going to return this line. So instead of that, it will going to return this line, right? So if I make this to 20, 10, if I run it, you can see the value is less than 20. So this is will be executed. So here you can see if the user has an input, if it is not empty, like whatever the condition you want to give, you can give that, and you can use just a question mark and you can say what code. So this is like a if code and this is like an else code. If it is true, this will be executed, else it will be executed, right? I think you get it, right? So this is how the ternary operator will work. Okay, so this is called as ternary operator. So right, we use it in most of the time when we using the advanced concepts and all. Okay, so any other doubt you have, you may ask that, because the next thing's about to DOM operation. We just start the DOM operation from next class itself. Repeat the ternary operator. Okay, I think most of you get confused here. So just imagine this is the if. Okay, and we have else. Okay, so what is the code here? We need to say, if I say I need to check if x is less than 20 or not. So if it is true, I just say console.log. Here you need to say true. Otherwise, we need to say console.log false. So this is how we need to do. So we need to use phrase, so much of things, right? So by shorthanding this, there is something called as ternary operator. We can use it. The same code, like it is how it is executed. It will check for the condition, whether it is true, it will be executed. Otherwise, the else code will be executed. So if I run it, if it is true, so it is executed and returns the value true. If I make the value to 100, so now if I run this, it is false. So it will make the value as false. So how can I write it in ternary operator means, like the same like that. Here I just create a variable const and here I just say value. Okay, equal to, because it is, we need to get value, right? So that is why I'm using. Okay, so something like that. So otherwise you can directly give x is less than 20. Okay, just give a semicolon. If the condition is true, whatever that you going to give, it will be executed. I just say console.log, same thing, true. Else you need to write console.log false. False. Right? You can see here. I think you get it, right? So we cannot declare a sentence like this, right? So I just say const y equal to console.log, something like that. So what the if statement will doing here, the same thing the conditional operator will do here. So if I clear it, if I run it, here you can see we get false because it check for the condition, it is true or not, it is going to be false because the value of x is 100, we are checking for a condition is true less than 20, so it is going to be false. So if it is true, this code will run. If it is false, this code will be run. So that's why the console this code will be run. So you can give whatever you want. Instead of console log, you can directly give 20, like we can give less than 20, and you can give we can give less greater than 20, like this. Okay, so in simple terms, how I can explain means, like I have a variable on user is registered. I have a variable user is registered. So you go for an you go for an any website and you already sign up that you are a registered user. So if it is registered, so I'm checking for the condition. User is triple equal to registered. Just copy that, and I'm checking for the condition. If the user is registered, here we can say go for, if the user is already registered, I need to redirect the user to home page. If the user is not registered, then I need to redirect the person to sign up page. Go for sign up. Okay, so this is what. So if I say console.log y and I clear and I run it, here you can see go for home page because the user is registered. So instead of that, I just say user is invalid. Now what happened? If I run this code, it is go for sign up page. So the concept same like if else. Instead of if else, you need to use most of the curly braces, and you need to say if, you need to give else, and you need to open the parentheses and all. So here you just use the semicolon condition. Just you need, sorry, semicolon not. You just want to use the question mark, and if the condition is true, whatever the thing that next to the question mark will executed. If it is false, whatever the thing next to the colon, that will be executed. That's it. Very simple. So there's a syntactic sugar, like you can understand whether you want to use if else statement, you can use that, or whether you want to use the normal ternary operator, you will use that. The ternary operator will helpful when you want to work handy, like you need to, sir, for comparison we use double equal to, but we have used triple equal to. The reason behind double equal to, if you use the double equal to, it is also going to produce the same result here. The difference between double equal to and triple equal to is double equal to check only the value. So it check only the value. Like if I say head and it is head, so it check only the value. When it comes to triple equal to, it check both the value and the data type. So if it is check, for example, double equal to is just a loosely typed, loosely it check for the loose conditions. Okay, so it only check the value of the condition. When I use the triple equal to, it is a strict operator, so it will check both the value and the variable, like the data type is true, it will returns the answer. Okay, so you can use, for comparison, you can use double equal to. If you only want to check the value, then it's fine. But if you want to check both the value and data type, then you can use the triple equal to. Okay, so if you don't still you have any doubts and all, I will explain that in tomorrow also. Okay, so tomorrow we will see the difference between double equal to and triple equal to also, no problem with that. And that is very easy, but the concept is very important. So sometimes double equal to, some of the conditions that we need to strictly follow. Okay, we need to give a strict comparison. So in meanwhile, we give triple equal to. Mostly what is a good programming when it comes to JavaScript, we avoid double equal to, instead we use triple equal to. The reason is we always want a strict comparison, so that is why. So mostly we avoid, like there are some of set of rules is that we don't want to use the global variables. Mostly we avoid that, like that there are some of the things is that. So we mostly avoid double equal to and use the triple equal to. But actually JavaScript both are same only, like we have double equal to, we have triple equal to. Double equal to is simply loosely comparison, it check only the values. triple equal to check both the value and the data type. Both are same means then it will be executed. It is a strict validator. So if you want to further reference, go for W3 school. So in the comparison operator, they will give the definition between double equal to and triple equal to. So it is a very neat explanation. Just spend a 1 minute, you can understand that what is the difference between and all. Even though if you don't understand, no problem, I will explain that tomorrow. So tomorrow we're going to see about the DOM operation, and if possible we will cover the async await, like of JavaScript we will cover. And the next week is also going to take about the advanced mastery concept, like we're going to see the all the mastery concepts that are available. I just going to take that. We will do that, like, okay. So today's time's up. See you tomorrow. Okay, so if you have any doubt, give it in the comment box or contact in the LinkedIn or WhatsApp, anything. Okay, so use any medium to contact TWD. We will be helping them. Okay, see you guys.